just sit down, press record, talk about the thing that's on your heart, talk about the thing that you want to have come across to folks, and see what happens. If you're over 40 and you haven't started a YouTube channel yet, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. My name is Kevin Griggs, and on May the 4th of this year, my job was eliminated, and for the first time in 30 years, I became unemployed. And so for the next 2 months, every minute of the day when I wasn't searching for a job, which was a lot of it, I spent researching and watching videos from people telling me all about how to start a YouTube channel. And what I was really doing more than anything else was kind of delaying everything and kind of figuring out reasons why I shouldn't get started. But eventually, almost 2 months later, on July the 2nd of this year, I finally sat down in this room, set up my phone, and pressed record. And I got to tell you, it's one of the best decisions that I've made in a while. And so what I wanted to do, I want to do something a little bit different today with this video. First and foremost, there's not going to be a lot of editing, and I hope that's okay. I just want to kind of be real, and I want to talk to you about why I think it's so important for people in my generation, people in our generation, to start on YouTube. So in this video, I want to cover the key reasons why I think starting a YouTube channel over 40 years old is not only possible, but it's essential for us to do. And I also want to kind of go through and talk about some of the common misconceptions, kind of debunk some of the myths, and really talk about some of the worries that people in my age, 40 and above, I'm 48 years old, but 48, 40, whatever and above are going to have about starting a YouTube channel. So with that, let's jump right into the first one, which is breaking the age barrier. So I think a lot of people kind of think that YouTube is really meant for younger generations. It's meant for people in their 20s or whatever. And that may be true of TikTok, kind of more so than it is YouTube. But I think on YouTube, there's really an opportunity for people of our age group to talk about things and to be on here. In fact, a lot of the bigger YouTube personalities and the people on YouTube, you'll see a ton of people on here that are in their 40s or above. And so I think that that's really kind of an age stereotype that kind of people hold on to, thinking, oh, well, you know, I'm too old to get started, or, you know, maybe it's too late for me to get started or something like that. And the reality is it's never too late to get started on anything. I mean, there are YouTubers right now. I was looking today, and there are a whole bunch of different people that I could mention here, but I'm going to mention two of them specifically because I want to kind of encourage you with what is possible out there. So the first one that I found, this is a channel called Dad, How Do I? And this is a channel, this guy started when he was 55 years old and started his YouTube channel. This was, I think, 4 years ago. And he is now up to almost 5 million subscribers. So he's obviously found a niche. He's found a bunch of people who are engaged with his conversation, engaged with what he wants to talk about, and who want to see him on video and want to see what he has to say. The other one that I found, and this is one that actually, when I was kind of doing my research and I was trying to figure out, do I want to start this channel? Should I start? I don't even know if I can start. All these different things that were kind of going through my head. One of the videos that popped up one night when I was sitting on the couch watching YouTube, because that's what I do at night, was this video by a lady, and the channel, sorry, the channel is called Silver and Solo. Totally lost my train of thought for a second, but that's okay. We're just going to keep going because that's what I'm doing in this video. So Silver and Solo was the name of the channel, and she started, it looks like about 7 months ago, where she kind of like really got serious and decided, hey, I'm going to kind of take this YouTube thing seriously, and started really uploading more videos and stuff like that. And so now, 7 months later, she's up over 70,000 subscribers. So, I mean, these are kind of best case scenario situations, obviously, where these people got a lot of views very, very quickly. But I think more importantly, it's not necessarily looking at that and going, I'm not saying to you, hey, if you start YouTube today, you're going to have 70,000 views in 7 months, or 70,000 subscribers in 7 months, or that you're going to have 5 million subscribers in 4 years. I'm not saying any of that. But what I am saying is it's never too late to get started. I was reading a story the other day about Colonel Sanders, and I've never read the story before, but apparently this was like way back in the late 1800s or whatever, and he had done a lot of things and kind of had varying success, but for the most part, he kind of struggled most of his life in different realities and different jobs and different things that he was trying to do to care for his family. And finally he had a gas station, I guess, and he started selling chicken and that he had made himself. And this was in his, I think his 40s or 50s when he kind of started that. And then back then, like a highway opened up that stopped people coming by his little restaurant or whatever you want to call it. It was not really a restaurant. It was a gas station that he was selling chicken out of, but nobody was coming by there anymore because an interstate had opened up. And so what he did, he was 65 years old when that happened. And instead of just kind of giving up or whatever, he took his Social Security check and whatever savings that he had, and he jumped in his car and he started traveling around and he went to different restaurants trying to sell his chicken recipe with his, what is it, the 11 herbs and spices. I don't know, whatever it was back in the day. Those of you who remember the buckets of chicken and the whole commercials that they used to do where they talked about the essential herbs and spices or whatever. So he went and tried to find all these different people. And it said that he was rejected over 1,000 times by different restaurants and people saying, no, thank you. Until finally he found somebody. He's 65 years old and he finally found somebody who said yes. And that one thing turned into Kentucky Fried Chicken and made him basically a household name. And by the time he sold it, I mean, it was millions and millions, and I don't even know how many dollars, but it was a lot of money that he had made and a lot of people's lives that he had kind of touched by his small little idea that started when he was not so young. So all of that stuff kind of leads me back to my point, which is, as I get back to my notes, which is that it's not too late to start. It's never too late to start. There's plenty of examples that you could look at. The other thing that I think that when we talk about debunking that first myth and really breaking that age barrier is that people in this generation, people who are in their 40s or 50s or 60s, we have something on our side that the younger generations don't have, and it's experience. We can talk about things that we've lived through. We can talk about things with a greater level of experience and personality than some of the younger folks out there. And not only that, not only can we talk about it, but the reality is there's actually a ton of people on YouTube who are looking for that. They're looking for people who will be real and talk about things to them and talk about things from a standpoint that they can kind of respond to, if that makes sense. So, I think that's really when you kind of look at the age thing, it really shouldn't be a reason why you don't get started doing this. The next thing I want to talk about is why YouTube really is the perfect platform for people in their 40s or above. And the first reason for that is there really is a low barrier for entry in this. Like, you don't have to have a ton of technical skills to get started doing this. You don't have to have a lot of equipment to get started doing this. Like, I am literally shooting this on my iPhone. I've shot every video in the last month, a month into my channel now. And every video that I've made, I've shot on this same phone. I've got a microphone that I bought for, I think, $55 or whatever it was. I've got lights, yes, but you don't even need lights. You could actually just use a window. If you want to just stand in front of a window or whatever, you could absolutely do that to get started. The lights that I have, I bought off of Facebook Marketplace for, I don't even know, $30 or something like that. It was something crazy cheap. So you can absolutely get started with very, very low cost shooting videos. In fact, you can get started for zero cost without you don't have to have all of this stuff. You could literally just use your phone and the speakers on the microphone that comes with the phone and get started that way. And then as time goes on, then you kind of level up, and as things you want to get better, and you kind of watch your videos and you go, I don't really like my lighting. For example, when I watched my first video, I was like, I don't really like my lighting too much. So I changed it. I went out to Facebook Marketplace and I got that. I got some of the Govee lights in the background so that I could have something that to me looked cooler, but again, not necessary. I just thought it would look cool. And so you can do stuff like that. The same thing with the microphone. I had another microphone that I used. I didn't necessarily like it, so I wanted to level up. You can do that over time, but it's absolutely not necessary to just get started. Really, what's necessary to get started is the thought process in your head that, hey, you know what? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to have a conversation with a camera and do it. The other thing about it, the other reason why I think this is the perfect platform for people in their 40s is that, and I kind of mentioned this earlier, there is a very diverse audience on YouTube. There are so many people who are looking for, people to kind of talk to them about things that they're related to. Like the guy earlier with the Dad How Do I channel. Basically, his whole channel is around trying to kind of be that father figure, if you will, for folks who maybe didn't have one. And so he teaches people how to tie a tie, for example, if they didn't have someone in their life that could do that for them. And so there are so many different types of people looking for knowledge that they can get from people in our generation. So I think that it's perfect for us to sit down and do this and be able to have these conversations and just be real with folks, that it really is important for us just to get started. So if you're enjoying this video, please smash that like button down below and leave me a comment, because those two things, along with you watching all the way through to the end, go a long way towards this video reaching more people. And if you want to see more videos like this, then hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. With that, all right, let's talk about benefits. The benefits of starting a YouTube channel. Now, I'm not going to tell you right away that the benefits of this are financial, because they are not. Okay, if you're wanting to get a YouTube channel as a way to make a whole lot of money really, really quickly, that's not the case here. And I'm not going to say it's not possible, because it's absolutely possible. There are people out there that do that. That's not my experience. That's not my experience at all. I haven't made anything from YouTube, and probably won't. Looking at my numbers, I won't for quite some time, but that's not the reason to do this. It can be a reason down the road, and absolutely down the road, as you get further into it, as you put out more videos, you are going to get, more people and more views. And there are going to be those kind of opportunities for, like, Google AdSense, for example, where you get paid by Google for, basically people watching ads on your videos. So there are things like that you can do. There are like brand deals and all of that kind of stuff that you absolutely can make money from. But that's not really what I'm going to focus on today. What I'm going to focus on today is really more about like personal fulfillment. Like for me personally, okay, I spent 30 years of my life as an investigator, and most of my time was spent sitting down, interrogating people, doing that whole deal. Okay. But even during that role, and even in all those different jobs that I had doing that, there was always chances for me to like get up in front of a group of people and teach, and get up and educate them on a particular topic. Okay. And when I would do that, when I would get that chance to do, and we would do it a lot for the last company that I worked for, at least in the beginning, we did that all the time. We'd stand up in a group, I would talk for, a couple hours about whatever specific topic that I was talking about. And those times that I did that were like, I felt the most alive. Like I absolutely loved doing that, even more than anything else that I did. And so this kind of gives me that opportunity without a room full of people in front of me, but I get to do it into a camera, and I get to talk to folks about things that I know about. And there's a lot of different ways that might come across, and there's a lot of different topics that might cover. But even in my last video that I did was about fantasy football, which I really, really enjoyed making, because I love fantasy football and I love to talk about fantasy football. And so when I sat down to shoot that video, it was probably the easiest video for me to make of any of the other videos that I've made, because I was passionate about that topic and I had something to say, and I could sit down and kind of get through it and talk about what I needed to talk about. And so there's a lot of that for you. Like, as you're watching this video, there are probably things where you could get some personal fulfillment from talking to people and teaching them the things that you know. And I don't know what those topics are for you, but there are things in your life that I'm sure that you know more about than any of your friends. There are things that your friends come up to you and say, "Hey, can you help me with this?" Because they know that you're basically an expert in that. Or, people call you, or family members, or whoever it is, because they know that you know these things really, really well. Those are the things that you can get on here and you can sit down in front of a phone or a camera or whatever you want to do, and you can talk about those things so that people who are trying to learn about that can sit there and learn from your expertise, can learn from your years of experience and get that. And that's going to bring fulfillment to you, because now you know that you're teaching people and you're helping people. And if that's kind of in your mindset at all, if there's any part of you that really wants to teach people things or educate in some way, that this is a great opportunity to do that, to get that type of fulfillment. The other part of it is you can start to build a community. You can, as you grow and as you get bigger, I mean, you hear stories all the time from folks who have tons of subscribers who talk about, how these people basically become friends to them, and they get close to them, and they start to learn about each other's lives, and they meet at events and whatever. And even if it's not that, just in the comments section, when you get comments from folks that are like appreciative of what you've done and what you've taught them, I mean, that right there just starts to build that sense of community, and it starts to kind of help you feel like, hey, maybe I am kind of making a difference here. And that leads me to my last point on this, which is you're really kind of leaving a legacy. None of us know how long we're going to be here. We just don't. And this, when you put a video up, it stays on YouTube. Unless you take it down, it'll stay on YouTube forever. And so I think about that sometimes, where, at some point, it doesn't matter what I'm talking about. At some point when I'm not here, my daughter can go on and watch that video if she wants to, and see me talking to a camera at some point, 30 years from now, or 50 years, or whoever knows how long that's going to be from now. She has the opportunity to do that. And so you're leaving that legacy behind for people who know you, for people who love you. I mean, that in and of itself is a reason to do this, for no other reason than money or any of those other things that may come along someday. If you're lucky, if things go really, really well, if for no other reason, you've got this legacy that you're leaving behind that people will be able to watch and love. Now, let's talk about common kind of concerns, okay? Concerns that I had, some of them, when I first started. The first one is about, people thinking, okay, well, I'm not really tech savvy. That's cool. You don't actually have to be. As long as you can use your phone and as long as you can press record, you don't really need to be tech savvy or know about lighting and microphones and f-stops. And I don't know what an f-stop is. Okay. I don't. That's fine. I don't need to know what an f-stop is, or aperture, and all of those different things that you think you probably need to know. Yeah, you don't need to know that stuff. There are really good tools on your phone that will let you just press record and record a video without knowing any of that mess. How about the I don't have enough time? And that's a valid concern. However, here's what I can tell you. Sitting down and shooting a video is actually not hard. And it actually doesn't take that much time to do, to sit down in front of a camera and talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about that day. What takes time is editing. And that can range. I mean, there are people that are really, really good at editing, and I'm sure that they go really quickly. I did not know a lot about editing I've done editing. I had a YouTube channel way back, like years and years ago. And so I did some editing there. I did editing for work on like training videos and things that we created. So I did editing there. And so I had some knowledge of it, but I'm not like the greatest editor in the world. And so when I'm doing like full on editing and, putting in a lot of B-roll and all kinds of different things, yeah, it could take me 5 or 6 hours to edit a video. But shooting it doesn't take that long at all. I'll shoot this whole thing in less than an hour, so that, if I just took that raw video and I was fine with just putting the whole thing up and not worrying about all of the uhs and the ums and the knows, I say a lot, all of those different things, if I didn't have to worry about taking those things out, then I could save myself a lot of time. So it really doesn't take that much to do it, especially if you're not really big on editing. And honestly, I've heard so many people talk about, as soon as you start, if you get to that point and you start making money from YouTube, one of the first things a lot of people do is they start paying other people to edit their videos because they don't want to do it. So, there's always that option out there as well. And then probably the biggest concern, the biggest thing that holds us back, at least for me in the beginning, is, well, what if nobody watches this? And that can be a very real reality. I've had videos on this channel, like so far, I'm a month in, as I said, I've got 10 videos. This will be my 11th video that I'm putting out, not including shorts. I've done a few shorts. I'm not a fan. I'm probably not going to do any more shorts going forward. But the 10 videos that I've had have ranged where some of them I've gotten, like one of them I had 1,600 views on it. The very first video that I did was about unemployment. I had 250 something views, which I thought was really good considering I was a brand new YouTuber that nobody, with 0 subscribers. Sorry, I had 1 subscriber, my wife, but I had 1 subscriber when I started and I got 250 views out of it. I thought that was pretty good. The other videos have been kind of a mixed bag, 10, 15, 20 views at a time. And yeah, that's part of it. And so I think you need to manage your expectations going into this, and don't think that you're going to sit down like I did. I kind of had unrealistic expectations, or maybe it's just dreams or whatever, when I sat down and did my first video, and in my head, I could just picture like everything blowing up and it's going to be amazing and whatever. So maybe don't go into it with that expectation. But if you have realistic expectations and you realize that, okay, you're going to have videos that get single digit views or double digit views or whatever, and just be fine with that, because honestly, it doesn't really matter how many views you get. I mean, does it really? Like if one person can watch a video like this, for example, if there's one person out there, and if you're that one person, by the way, leave me a comment and just let me know that it's you, because I want to be able to at least recognize you and know that you're out there. But if there's one person who is watching this, who's been maybe contemplating, hey, I think I should start a YouTube, I don't really know what I should do, whatever, all these different things, right? And you're over 40 and you're having those conversations kind of internally with yourself. If I can help that one person kind of get over the hump and sit down in front of their camera and press the record button, that's a win. And so it doesn't matter how many you get. It doesn't matter if I've got 20 views on this video. I have no idea what this video is going to do. I may get 5 views on it. My latest video, the one on fantasy football that I really enjoyed making, I've got 6 views on it right now. And yeah, it just went out yesterday, but that's not a lot of views, okay? But it doesn't matter how many you get. As long as you're doing what you enjoy, you're getting personal fulfillment out of it, and hopefully helping at least one person, then you're good. So let's talk about action steps. What do you need to do next? What do you need to do if you really want to start this? Okay. So action step number 1 for most people is choosing a niche. Okay. And I know that sounds maybe like really hard, and it actually is kind of hard if I'm just being transparent about it. Like that's what that was my biggest concern starting this channel, is I don't know what my niche is. And I still don't. I'm 11 videos in now and I still don't really know what my niche is. I think I'm starting to settle in on, because like I said earlier, that fantasy football thing I really enjoy doing. So maybe that's my niche, but I've done so many different types of videos trying to figure out what works and trying to figure out what I enjoy doing. And so maybe if you're like me, you may have a ton of different things that you could theoretically talk about. So maybe start with one of them. Just pick one and go, okay, I'm going to start with this for a while and see what happens. And maybe nobody watches it or whatever. And so maybe you pivot and maybe you go to a different one. You can absolutely do that on YouTube. You don't have to know on day one exactly what your channel is going to be and exactly what topics you're going to cover. You don't have to know all that stuff. You should probably have an idea of, at least your first couple of videos and things that you want to be able to talk about or make. But you don't need to know a year from now, what's my 60th video going to be about. You don't have to know that. I don't know that. Maybe I should, but I don't. And so if you just have some things in your life that you would like to talk about, the best case scenario would be to make your channel about one thing. And I think if I would have done that, I probably would have grown faster, and I'd probably be growing faster than I am right now. But it's absolutely not essential that you do it. If you have other things that you want to try out, feel free, do that. Don't let any of these folks, and that's one of the other things that kind of gets in the way sometimes, is we watch people on YouTube kind of telling you that you have to niche, and then you have to niche down, and you have to do all these different, and they give you so many things that you need to do, and that if you don't do them, you're not going to be successful. And it can kind of become overwhelming, and it can kind of become a little daunting, really, as you're sitting there trying to contemplate, should I get started? And all it does is kind of push you off and make you go, okay, well, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start tomorrow, or I'll start next week, or I got to wait till I get some lights and then I'll get started, or whatever it is. It makes you want to do that because there's so much information from it. Don't overthink it. Like, don't make it harder than it has to be. Just sit down, press record, talk about the thing that's on your heart, talk about the thing that you want to have come across to folks, and see what happens. You know what I mean? So that's my first thing. Choose your niche, niche, however you want to say it. Absolutely is a good idea. But if you can't right away, don't worry. Second, basic equipment. Again, use your phone. Don't worry about getting anything fancy. And then finally, for first video ideas, we kind of talked about that. All right. So sorry, I'm looking at my notes, but I'm talking ahead of my notes, but it's okay. Anyway, again, if you've made it this far in the video and you have questions, you have, anything about this process that you want to know, let me know in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to answer them. And again, or just let me know that you are still watching this video, and that, if you're maybe contemplating starting a YouTube channel, tell me what's stopping you. Tell me, or even better yet, if you've already started and maybe you've had some success, share that with me and with other people who read these comments, because I think that would be huge as well, for people to be able to see that this is not just one guy talking about this. There are so many people out there, and probably so many better examples than me. I'm a guy who's been doing this for a month, and I have 31 subscribers. And by the way, I appreciate every single one of you. But there are probably people, and I know there are, with a lot more subscribers and a lot more reach, and a lot more people will see their videos as I hit the microphone stand. There are a lot more people out there that will see those videos than will probably see this video. But let me know in the comments below. And if you did find something on this video helpful, if it was helpful to you in any way, please, don't say please, it's please, press the like button, hit subscribe if you want to stick around. If you want to see more from this channel, then click this video right here, and maybe you can learn a little bit more about what I've been doing for the last 11 videos. And if you do want to subscribe, there's the button right there. There's also one, I think, down here, if I remember correctly. Anyway, that's all I've got. I'll see you on the next one.